All right, last slide, last idea, polyatomic ions. Some of you are not going to be too happy about this, but anyhow, polyatomic ions we need to memorize. You need to know their name, you need to know their formula, and not just how to identify them, but you need to be able to write them down. Okay, so let's talk about first, what is a polyatomic ion? Well, poly means two or more, and then atomic means atoms. So all of these polyatomic ions have two or more atoms bonded together. So they all have formulas because they have multiple elements combined with chemical bonds so that they act as one unit. Okay, so in other words, hydroxide here acts as one little ion. So it's got a -1 charge, so it's this little substance that can float around with a -1 charge, just like how chlorine can form a -1 ion. So very similar in terms of they act as a single unit that has a charge, okay, or a single ion. So there are 7 of them. Hydroxide I think is the easiest to remember because its name is just like its formula, hydroxide, hydrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, oxygen. Okay. Nitrate, carbonate, sulfate, and phosphate. I've got a trick for remembering these. Okay, so if we look first at nitrate and carbonate, and then we look at the periodic table right here, here we have nitrogen and carbon. Notice nitrate and carbonate, they both have O3. So it's NO3, CO3, right? And then notice their charges. If we count from the right to the left, nitrogen is -1, and then the carbonate is -2. So this row has the O3s, and they go from -1 to -2 if you're counting to the left. Okay. Now sulfate and phosphate, right? These guys are right here. So phosphorus and sulfur right here. Okay, they're both O4s, right? O4, O4, and then so we went down one row, the number of oxygens went up by 1, and the charge numbers go up by 1. So sulfate is -2, and then counting to the left, this goes up by 1 more to -3. So -1, -2, -2, -3, and then the top row is O3, and the bottom row is O4. So that gets us through the first 5 polyatomics. Let's talk about the last 2. Acetate, I just remember, is the choo-choo. Okay, really it's chiku, I guess, but acetate is choo-choo, and so I just remember it's the acetate choo-choo, and this little negative here is where the caboose connects, I guess. Ammonium has a weird name. Okay, notice all the rest of these are ides or 8s. Okay, even acetate had an 8 on it. They're all negatives, right? Ammonium, the only one without one of the special names like 8 or ide, ammonium is the only one with a positive charge. It is also the only formula that does not have an oxygen in it. It's NH4. Okay, so my suggestion is make flashcards for these. Practice writing them. The more you write them, the more it's going to stick in your head what the formula is. And again, use the periodic table, especially this trick down here, to help you remember these 4. Okay, make sure that you complete your online questions, and we'll see you tomorrow.